grapes. Grapes. In any case, welcome to you all to twitch.tv/Wensleydale Cheddar. This is Stammer stream, manga podcast, and speech therapy combined. I'm your stammering host, Wensleydale Cheddar, here alongside your non-stammering hosts, Kastor UK and Dr. Hovin. How are you guys doing this week?
Okay, I'll go first. I'm doing all right. I've mostly been playing through Danganronpa V3, and I'm finishing the Danganronpa anime. So that's your Danganronpa tangent for the week. Not really much to say because I don't have anyone to bounce off about that. But yeah, that's been my week.
I've been spending my week actively avoiding Danganronpa and everything it stands for. So.
Oh yeah, because you really hated the anime, didn't you?
I thought the first season anime was a part. Yeah, no, it was. Sorry, but before we start another podcast, we'll be bashing on a series that's just okay. No, I did not care for the Danganronpa anime just because it's just like, oh, so we've got some really interesting characters, and we're going to kill two off every episode, and one of them is going to magically be a dick, and one of them is just going to be killed. I did not care for that series. Apparently, the second series is better because they're all assholes to start with.
Also, generally speaking, in the game, you get much more time to get to know the characters and downtime, and you actually partake in the trials, and the interactivity does add another dimension to it.
Oh, I'm sure it does. Just story-wise, that series was not good. It was not good at all.
Yeah, I've heard that Grail also had a problem with the anime, didn't he?
I think no, I think Grail's only seen the abridged series of it. So
okay, I've seen. I think one of them was one of our peers. Also participated in the TBA competition.
Oh, nice.
And in any case,
peers might be a strong word.
So, yeah. So speaking of Tiba, let's move on to Well Triggered. No. Okay.
No, it's never coming back.
Let's. You know what? I've actually recently joined the Discord channel for Well Trigger with that's Annalise created.
Oh.
Yes, Annalise Christman, the person who's
yeah,
most about manga in the entire world.
I don't mean to sound mean, but I honestly don't know how you guys can muster up the enthusiasm for that series, because I don't know, it was just overwhelmingly okay to me.
I don't know. I don't really understand what's there really to discuss about since. You know, both the anime and the manga are on hiatus, but I joined out of curiosity, and it's always Well Trigger isn't my favorite manga by any stretch, but there are a lot of people who are really enthusiastic about that. So you know, whenever we need any input on the abridged series or something along those lines, and what to maybe parody in the characters, then I guess it would be a good idea to interact and so on and so forth.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think just me and Hovin are amazed there's an active Discord server for it.
So, speaking of Discord, let's talk about One Piece. We haven't. There was no One Piece this week, but you guys haven't discussed the last week's chapter, so I figured it might be a good idea to mention it briefly here. So
yeah, sure.
So One Piece chapter 885. So guys, if Brûlée is officially the 11th Straw Hat, what do you think her tragic backstory is going to be like?
The thing is, I know there'll be sections of the internet who will defend that opinion to the death because they're always fucking are.
Guys, remember Rebecca should have been a Straw Hat.
Guys, you know how it makes perfect sense that Caesar Clown is the next Straw Hat?
Like, I'd rather have a plank of wood on the crew with a face drawn on it than Rebecca. It had about the same amount of personality.
I love any time a Logia user or a woman is introduced that interacts with the Straw Hats at all. It's just like, no, it's going to be her because we need a Logia type and a woman on the another woman on the Straw Hat crew. And it's like,
remember
I know people who
how
actually think Rebecca is a better character than Vivi, and I do not understand it.
remember how people thought Perona was going to be the next Straw Hat, despite Luffy never having interacted with her.
Yes. Thing is, that's actually one of the ones that I can see in a decent argument for, because she now has a relationship with 2 members of the crew and knows Zoro. But it's just like, it's not a good argument, but it's an argument.
Yeah, and she would fit in the dynamic, I guess. Rebecca, though, I can't see it. So
my favourite thing is people are always arguing about who's going to be the 11th member of the Straw Hats, forgetting that Jinbei is officially the 11th member of the Straw Hats.
He's the 10th.
10th? No,
Yes.
Brooke was the 10th. Am I going insane?
No, there are 9 Straw Hats before the time skip.
Well, unless you count Mary or Vivi, but that's arguable.
I am going insane, yeah. Fair enough. Okay. Should we actually go into this chapter, because cool stuff happens in this.
You go out of the frying pan and into the fire, very literally.
Yeah, so honestly, a defeat for Luffy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if he's done with the fight quite yet. He could always. I don't know. After this much setup and like the excuse being I need to recharge my haki, I feel like it's gonna come. I feel like it's gonna resume.
Yeah, he's
I'd
not down
agree,
yet.
but in this arc, maybe it might just be me hoping, just like, let's not just beat Karakuri in this arc. We've done a decent build up. Can we save him for later?
I don't know. Like, if we were talking Big Mom, I'd agree. But Katakuri is one of her henchmen, so I don't know.
But fair enough.
Do we need that saved for later?
I think we do, because comparing Luffy, so like saying Luffy is not yet strong enough to beat Yonko, the response is no shit. Luffy is.
I don't know.
not yet strong enough
You
to...
talked to some of the fandom. They were like, "Oh no, she's definitely gonna beat her here."
Yeah, I know. We've just went on a rant how the One Piece fandom is wrong, but unless it's me, in which case it's always right. But no, like, I want the Straw Hats to like have a power level of how they're pitched, not a power level, but just like, okay, here is where they are in the world.
A bar to cross later.
Yeah, they're now officially above the 10 Warlords, or at least Luffy was able to beat the built-up most powerful member.
7.
They should be below
7 Warlords.
The 7 Warlords. They should be below the Yonko.
Don't you mean the 5 emperors?
Yes, the Go-Go.
Who never loved their children.
Yeah, but with the introduction of Jack and the introduction of the Sweet 4, or whatever they're called, the Sweet 3 now, one of them died. I want to know where the Straw Hat stands. So it's not just like, oh, they're going against this big bad person and beat them.
All right. Apart from that, I will say it's a bit repetitive that we've had like 3 chapters now that have ended on Sanji being like, "Okay, let's get the cake ready," or "Okay, let's do this." I'm like,
yeah.
It's kind of like how they ended a lot of chapters with Pudding being like, "Is she evil? Is she good?"
Is the cake good?
There was a point to the Pudding being evil and good, because it's literally just set up 3 chapters of, oh, I trolled all of you.
Is it real? Is it recall?
Even so, what I love most about this chapter is how in the span of a few pages only, Oda manages to make better food wars analogies about how delicious the food is than Food Wars. Well,
and everyone keeps their clothes on.
Yeah, sounds the fan service, but yeah. I also love how, once again, the Charlotte siblings actively try to rescue their sister. Well, we have a villain group that actually cares about each other.
That's been a very consistent thing throughout the arc of how they always have backed each other up.
Except for Pudding, because Pudding's eye is ugly. It's so ugly.
She has a third eye.
It's the ugliest thing in the universe.
I love how because this is unfortunately an Oda thing, and apparently recently the idea of hang on, so for this character's backstory to work, this group. No, I'm being unfair. This is weird for Oda. The fact that Pudding's backstory is made to make the Charlotte siblings have no familiarity between themselves and all look out for themselves, so they all hate her, and then the rest of the time they're all good to each other.
Maybe the kids in the flashback weren't. Or were they the siblings, or weren't they?
I think they were the siblings. Big Mom actively hates her, though it's been implied that Big Mom doesn't love any of her children because she had a weird, messed up upbringing. Just like, yeah, anyone can kill whoever they want.
Maybe they have this mindset of, okay, since our mother doesn't really like us, we have to look out for each other, kind of thing.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
I'd just like a bit more. I'd like that hurdle smoothed over because Oda's normally better than that.
So one other thing that I didn't really understand was, couldn't Katakuri have predicted that Brule would be kidnapped? Because there seems like there are quite a few holes in his foresight, and he seemed calm at the moment. So
I have no idea how his foresight works. I just get the impression it's just like he can see into the future just enough to be able to completely read every single attack.
Yeah.
But that was sort of what he's like got level 2 observation haki. It's observation haki to people who already have observation haki. I don't know how it works. I'm not complaining too much because the character that can see the future can break a lot of series. So if Oda wants to fudge it slightly, I'm down for it, for being like dramatic.
Well, Jin and World Trigger hasn't managed to yet, as far as I can remember.
Yet is the word, yeah.
Even so, out of that kind of power really is a gamble, because you can create plot holes really easily, and Ashihara didn't do that, so.
Yeah. Introducing a character like that is sort of shooting yourself in the foot because there's so many plots and ideas you can't use because technically this character could have stopped it.
Yeah. So, speaking of future vision, shall we move on to We Never Learn? Because
We never learn. Thingy song. I don't know. It's my theme song for it. If it gets an anime and an opening, I won't have to make one up. Basically, this chapter, to summarize for people who don't have Jump, this is a Kominari chapter where she's like meets up with her friends and she's like about to pass it off as, oh, he's just a family friend. He's just a friend that we see sometimes. Then her dad walks past and we're also dating. They send her dad a bunch of pics of them being all cutesy and romantic to try and sell the idea that they're going out, and then she just kind of teases him at the end. And as she does, I was very negative on Kominari when she was introduced, but I safe to say she's warmed up to me a lot.
Is her name Kaminari?
Kominari, I think. Hold the phone. Her name.
I thought Kaminari was.
I called her Asumi for.
Kaminari was the lightning bloke from My Hero, wasn't he?
Kominari. No, Kominari. Oh, Kominami. I got it wrong, but it is.
So it's a Pixie Girl chapter.
Come on, guys. Legal lolly. Just get it straight.
Okay, legal lolly. Fine, yeah. But yeah, no, legal lolly has grown on me a lot.
We have that sound clip.
Yes, you do. I'll call it Asumi. Asumi has grown on me a lot. She's a lot more fun now. I was really worried when they introduced her as a kind of an uptight tsundere, but they seem to have found an angle that works more as kind of an older girl who can kind of poke fun at stuff.
Yeah. Can we all
Other than
just
that,
agree?
it wasn't. Yeah,
Sorry, can we all just agree her dad is creepy as fuck?
yeah, a little. He's a bit Ichigo's dad.
It's
Is
apparently
it can't be as bad as Ogata's dad.
Thing is, Ogata's dad isn't bad. He's just a bit overbearing, but Ogata treats him like the scum of the earth. Pixie Girl's dad is literally. It's like I know it's for the joke, but this is the one time we never learn. It's gotten to be. Perhaps it's a cultural thing. The idea of send me pictures of you two being romantic to prove you're a couple. It's a bit too voyeuristic for my taste.
Right, I just kind of write that off as anime.
But wait,
I didn't even think about that.
wait, did he
manga in this case?
Did he demand those pictures were shown, or
He's apparently, after cycling past them as they pretended for his benefit that they were in a relationship, suddenly thought, they might not be in a relationship. How should I pursue
he does. He asks them directly for pictures.
It's
okay.
I don't get it. It's really weird.
But,
and the thing is, it's anime, but we never learn. Normally, isn't this anime? It's normally like takes anime and then gives a reason behind it, and this is a bit creepy.
Okay.
Sure.
I don't even see how pictures would prove anything, since they are taking them, so they might stage them. So what? Why?
It's just I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna stop asking questions. It's just a weird Japanese thing. Let's go with that.
All right. Anything else to mention, or shall we move on to Boruto?
Yeah, let's move on to Naruto has lightsabers in it now. Okay.
Let's move on to this. Right, obviously, I don't think read half of Naruto or the movie.
This is so. Okay, can I just go on a bit of a tangent? Boruto as a thing,
no, go on.
in general, is so strange. Not only in the fact that it's trying to blend technology into the world of Naruto and doing it quite kind of clumsily, and that's just going to kind of upset the balance of how things works. But the fact that we have this series that is like now introducing characters that were introduced in the anime that is a prequel to it and still hasn't gotten to any of the material covered in it. It's all set up in it's all a bit odd. That character being Kake Sumire, their old class prez, who looks like Senju Gahara from the Monogatari franchise.
I don't get this series. If I could define time cash in, it might be Boruto at the moment.
I mean, it's working. It's selling better than MHA and Black Clover.
Oh, I'm sure it's getting to the point now where it feels like an insult to the actual Naruto series. And a part of this for me is the art.
Yeah.
Yeah, the art's not great.
Anytime it's a fight sequence, it gets sketchy and boring, and wow.
The expressions are really kind of just seem kind of stilted and just not very genuine to me.
At this point, like I just kind of follow it as a curiosity thing. It's very easy to keep up with, and I'm just like, what are they gonna try for next? And in a sense, it does deliver on that. Like, okay, we've got lightsabers now. This is what we have to scrape the barrel to come up with.
I mean, the technology angle doesn't bother me as much since it's always there have always been computers in Naruto. If you remember the actual
in
Naruto
the tuning
manga.
exams.
Yeah, but
oh yeah, I'd forgotten that was that was weird.
Naruto had a PC. He had a Game Boy, I think. But
Boruto has a Game Boy. He has a little portable console that he plays.
I
think my main problem with the technology in this is that half the technology does stuff that ninjas can already do, and it's just like, This is
Yeah.
where it gets to the point of, like, did you read Naruto?
Yeah, and especially in even in Naruto, which had a war-driven world. So okay, so you can invent computers, but you can't invent guns. It's just something that you have to wipe out of your brain to enjoy Naruto. So yeah, I was young when I was reading Naruto, so I just had no problem with that.
I could go on. I could go into an
I mean,
an
there are a
investigation, but
lot
I'm
of
not.
things that don't work about the world of the original Naruto, like how what's his face how the Hokage had a crystal ball he could see everything with, but then didn't.
Yeah, especially a beginning Naruto when finding. Do you remember when they had walkie-talkies to find a cat?
Yeah.
Thing is, the bit that bugs. Okay, the two things that bug me the most are the myths that let them climb walls, because it's like, okay, if you want to give the argument of this lets non-ninja climb walls, then cool, don't give them to the ninja to try out. And also the fact that why is she wearing a schoolgirl uniform? Do those exist in this world? Do schools exist in this world?
Well,
Beyond the ninja school, which had no uniform.
Well, I guess now that the wars have ended, I guess it was an opportunity to give the students more of a broader curriculum.
But she went to the ninja school. Is that what I got? That was what I got. That in the filler stuff, she's at the ninja school. Is she wearing a schoolgirl uniform then?
I have no idea. Oh, look, a Milo girl is introduced in this chapter. From Kiba's clan.
In what?
Uh,
In Boruto.
yeah, in Boruto.
You mean oh, okay. Not really, but
She-
you know, I can see what you
Fair
mean.
enough.
She has glasses and she
Right.
has breasts.
Right. So
Sure.
we can either rag on how Boruto's not as good as Naruto for a while longer, or should we move on to something more fun?
Alright then. So let's move on to something more fun. Food wars shit. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
fuck. Okay.
I mean, I can basically summarize I wish the result of this match and the result of the last match in terms of whether the Soma's team won or lost were reversed.
No, I couldn't see it happen otherwise. Since Megumi got a lot more development than Takumi overall, so I'm glad it evened things out.
I liked the second half of this chapter. It was good. The first half was very. The first half was showing that Takumi's character, not Takumi, lead girl lady, who's not Erina. Megumi's character has stagnated, even to the point where she got the pity vote. That was what bugged me the most. It wasn't that she'd actually split the judges between the one who liked the teddy bear girls and the one who actually liked hers because of its like technical brilliance, and then the girl in the middle could go either way. No, it's the fact that she got the pity vote from the girl in the middle, just like she did last time, the time before that. It's just like, she has worked really hard. Can we give her
a genuine achievement?
Yeah. Can we stop giving her pity, like semi-achievements? And like, if she had lost 2-1, but she had managed to legitimately split the group between whose the dish was better, that would have been progress.
Are we talking about the piece of shit that this chapter is?
The first half of the chapter was a piece of shit. Yes. Hey,
So what we really like the one sword guy putting like a garnish on his food. What's the good part?
The good part, I like the bit where the reaction with Megumi losing and Teddy Bear Girl acknowledging her. I enjoyed that bit. That was nice character moments.
Yeah.
The bit that led up to it was shit.
I don't like it because it's the
really?
same shit we got last time. Just in general, there's nothing new about this chapter, and it's less well executed than the time it happened with Kurokiba. Because it's just the same, like, well, I guess I still suck, and then someone at the end who's of importance going, that girl could be really impressive. Someday. Not now. Give it 200 more chapters.
Next
I
time.
like the scene where she holds it together for a bit, and then you see past it as she walks up to her.
It's an example of like, Soma having presenting some really nice panel work.
Yeah.
The
first half was shit.
I don't like it.
I've got to say, from the Polish perspective, using confiture as a special ingredient in a gourmet level dish seems weird. Mainly since my grandma makes that shit all the time.
Takumi used pizza. I think we should all agree that like European style of cooking Food Wars is not great at.
Also, I might add to that in that my Thai friend is watching a Food Wars anime, and they've just gotten to the Azan Shokugeki, and apparently Azan's food in Thailand is like street food, which is really funny when you consider the fact that he's meant to be like this like elitist who only does the gourmet stuff. And like calls out Soma on just being like a kitchen vendor and stuff, you know.
Well, maybe Eisen might be able to get away with it because his style was like he makes food that will sell.
You said Eisen again.
I can dream.
Azan.
I can dream. Let me imagine better characters are in this series.
I wish Eisen made those sorts of reaction faces towards the end of the end of the what's it called? LSI's No. The arc, the Deicide arc.
Deicide, yeah.
And like I said, I'm pretty sure what Takumi made would have been made by Guy Fieri on Next Food Network Star or something like that.
Yeah. It's a shame because up until this point, this was turning into a really good, old-fashioned Shokugeki matchup, and it's just a shame that they went
I was really excited for this when like it started with the boxing metaphor.
Yeah. Oh, it's just a shame. Any ideas?
Also...
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you can go ahead. It's okay.
I was just going to ask that any bets on whether Soma will win this last fight.
That's what I was actually going to say, is that this also removes a lot of my theories as to something interesting happening in the Soma fight.
Something interesting happening in the Food War. No, I'm joking.
No, but it's more just the fact that, like, if Megumi won and then, you know, Soma lost or something like that, okay, they would still have 4 people going into, you know, facing up against what is now going to be Momo, Rindo, and Tsukasa. But going here, if Soma loses here, I really don't think Aldini, Ishiki, and Erina are going to be able to fully take down Rindo, Tsukasa, and Momo at this point.
No.
So it gives me a lot more doubt about whether or not, you know, there's going to be a tie or, you know, Soma's going to lose. And it really does seem like, you know, with the characters left over, yeah, Soma's probably going to have to win this.
Yeah. And yeah, I think he'll win this. And theorizing the last round, I'm hoping they do what the regimen de cuisine was meant to be from the first, said to be from when it was first introduced, the idea of 3 chefs working together to create a meal together. I'd like to see the final round.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the final, because Takumi, Ishiki, and Soma is quite a nice trio. I prefer Megumi to be in it, but we've been through that. And then you've got the 3 from Central, and I'd quite like to see that the 3 Polar Storm Door.
So what? Hold on, I've forgotten. Is Erina just not participating?
That's a good point. When the fuck's Erina coming into this?
She's their secret weapon, apparently. I would have thought the ramen guy would have been.
But Takumi isn't from the Polar Star Dawn.
Or is she just going to be the Mavis of this team?
I am. If Erina doesn't win a match, I am going to be so fucking pissed.
I think she's the Bunny Achia of this team.
She had better not. The thing I'm waiting for is for Soma to fail and Erina to have to step up to save the team.
That would be way better.
Because if Soma manages to get through all this without so manages to get through this, wins every match. Honestly, without seeming to try, because he hasn't so far. I am going to be very annoyed.
Yeah. Anyway.
So one thing to
Yeah.
note is that Momo is no longer referring to Megumi by her nickname, but by her full name, which means she now views her as an equal. So yeah, I don't think I like that moment, but I similarly I don't think it's earned.
I think it's earned, and I like the panel. But as Nova said, pointed out earlier, we've been there, we've seen this.
I don't think it's earned. I
Nah,
I don't know.
My hero.
Yeah,
Right.
sure. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This week was a very mediocre week of manga for me, so I'm gonna be negative for a lot of this.
So the League of Villains has turned into the League of Batman Villains. Your life's going to be a real nail biter now. Not that you've got nails to bite.
School joke.
Yo. It was mostly fine. League of Villains come in, take his powers, go. You know.
I love that freaking
There
spinner
was a hero
bases
called
his
Snatch.
bases his entire driving skills off of playing GTA. This is great.
Yeah,
I
it was an interesting. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
It was a mostly exhausting chapter for me since I wanted some respite after that whole business with Shihasakai. But I did like the second half of this chapter, the Shigaraki speech.
I think a bit more of downtime with Class A.
Yeah.
Just chilling out would be nice. It would be something welcome.
Mm.
We haven't had that in a while.
I think we're getting I think we're hoping for maybe it's arc fatigue, but I like this. I think maybe I think we're assuming the arc has completely finished now that the villain is gone. But I think there's still a lot of fallout from the arc that I think it would be too much whiplash if we went right into another hey, what's your room like, Mineta chapter.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I
I
think we
agree
mean
with that.
just maybe slowing things down, just the characters recovering and talking would be a nice way to slow down, but before bringing another action with the League of Villains.
I think we will get that. Me personally, the fact that this is all contained into one chapter is what has me so positive on it. Because if the end of this chapter was like Shigaraki standing over Overhaul, then I would be like, well, okay, can't we speed this up a little bit? And
they
this is
did.
actually going at a pretty decent pace.
Yeah.
Also, Shigaraki's face yelling at him is quite good.
Yeah. My biggest problem with this chapter was the fight with the sand guy and the chase at the beginning. I couldn't tell what was going on half the time. It's like,
Yeah.
Okay, I guess this happened. Oh, I guess that happened. I think it was more the step down from the really nice art we've had recently. But I liked the ending, and I liked essentially Mr. Compressed just being able to just showing off, just like, here is how fucking terrifying my powers are, and I'm doing this all one-handed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Shigaraki's speech was nice, but it was I think the problem was it's a really interesting chapter if you look at it in a vacuum, but it's unfortunately a bit of a step down in quality and style from what we've been seeing recently, and yeah,
Well,
it's
what we've seen recently was also very confusing to me. So, sorry.
Oh, okay, I didn't get. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, we talked last week about how we felt like the arc would rather rush to a climax a bit, but
Oh, really? Fair enough.
Yeah. Is there anything else people want to talk about, or shall we move on to what I'm sure is like a masterpiece of a chapter in Black Clover? I assume.
Yeah,
Hands up, who read this week's Black Clover?
I did, and it's glorious.
I'm not doing Black Clover anymore. I'm sorry, guys. It's just getting to the point of I don't.
Really, you're joining me on the side bench.
Oh,
It's just I just get annoyed at it, and it's not the fun annoyance like that I got.
I was considering catching up as well.
Kastor, you're gonna regret it a bit because this chapter is hilarious. Just that one panel when we have the new Royal Knight uniforms, and they all look like pepper pots. All the characters are standing in this one panel that's supposed to look cool, and they all look like pepper pots.
I'm just reading through. Why is Noelle married to Lisht at the start of this chapter?
I think we're supposed to think that the current characters are maybe reincarnations of the
Fuck this.
past of the elves, or something like that. I don't really care about that. But when we get to the actual introductions of the new Royal Knights, I love those uniforms. They are so shitty.
I just don't quite get the humor in this chapter very much. Like, Asta gets
Black
back
Clover
to,
has humor.
Asta gets back to being really excited with the shiny eyes. Then I guess he powers down and goes back to being catatonic, just so we can have the joke that Rill is also catatonic and having them side by side, which is weird because I thought Asta already recovered from this. Then, of course, and at first, I thought this was I didn't know this was the uniform. I thought this was just Yuno's new design. I was like, oh, this is incredibly lame. And then Asta's like, no, I'm going to be the Wizard King. And then they all put on their robes, which, I mean...
they're easy to draw.
Flipping through this, the floating island at the end looks kind of cool. It kind of looks
Really?
like something out of the Edge Chronicles, the series illustrated by Chris Riddell.
I'd agree if the art was any good.
I guess the buildings look a bit crap, but I just like the idea of floating islands. I assume that they're meant to be like ruins or something.
Generally, I would say that the background art in Black Clover is pretty fun, but this is just the outline of a castle with a few dots in it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the panel of "You are the Royal Knights" should be a lot cooler, but I forget who a bunch of these people are. So, like, I kind of get, like, I think the pudgy guy is the glass guy, and the one behind him, I think that's Mimosa's brother.
Yeah.
But I think it also doesn't help that, I don't think the uniforms look that cool.
They look like pepper pots! And, not the
like,
Monty Python old ladies. I mean literal pepper pots.
Then,
like, I feel like these are just going to be cumbersome. And then the joke at the end, like, Asta's like, why is mine so short? And they're like, oh, we ran out of fabric. I'm like,
because
oh, man, if only this was a world of if only there was magic.
If only the series had good writing.
If only the Clover Kingdom could just buy more. Like, is it magic fabric? I don't like. What? Just make it a different color then.
I think that, they might have just been dicks to him since he's a commoner. But I mean,
so half of them.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to say that since there's less of this uniform, it maybe might look cooler. But no, it still looks lame.
So then Nozel, which I'm sorry is always funny whenever I hear it.
He's funny to look at as well. Just the braid down the middle of his forehead.
So then Nozel shows up and like, oh my god, the captain's here. That's encouraging. I'm like, well, I mean, Rill is just like in the corner. I love how no one cares about Rill.
No one cares about Rill.
Yeah, this team is kind of weird. We have two captains operating under a vice captain, essentially.
I get that Mereoleona is meant to be just like, she's obscenely powerful, but does not work in like a system where you have to follow orders.
Mm-hmm. And then we get the twist at the end, like the height of the Midnight Sun is in a floating dungeon in the Gravito Stones, a stone magic region. Like, okay.
Cool.
Again, I'm saying the same thing when the king did this. Should you really be screaming this?
I don't.
It's like this is your SEAL Team 6 equivalent. Should you really be like yelling at the top of your lungs?
Yeah, they're actually
what's
going to
depressing?
secretly attack the Eye of the Midnight Sun, even though they informed the general public they were going to do just that. So maybe this is just a diversion and someone else is going to do the actual mission that this quest is supposed to cover up?
That would be great. They just send the other captains to break into the actual place. Or these doofuses who were the only people who run this big flashy competition to draw attention to them. Go off and invade somewhere else entirely. That would make sense.
We just look in the corner and it's all the Black Bulls who didn't take the exam for some reason. Like it's Yami and Gauch and Vanessa. And they're just like, yeah, turns out they were hiding in an Arby's, so we took them out.
This series is terrible.
Oh.
So who is that bloke who has that flashback at the beginning? I was just going to ask before we move on.
That's the copycat guy from the Eye of the Midnight Sun. The guy who was supposedly impersonating a magic captain, and it's never been brought up again.
Oh,
The fuck?
I don't remember the least of him. Wow.
So when the former captain of the Purple Orcas,
Was he the one that looked like Fat Mayuri?
yeah,
Okay.
when he was captured, all the captains head out, and the guy sort of walked off. One of them walked off and transformed into this guy, and then he said to the camera, essentially to absolutely no one, "Wow, they're really scary in there." But which one was I? To no one. He was talking to no one. He was just talking to the reader. It's like, but which one was I? And then he just walked off.
I forget the shit this series has done.
It was really fun. And then we see him wake him there. So I guess he just left. And he was like, "The awakening must be near." Saying on, and this is just me being an asshole to this series because this isn't an actual criticism. But I'm like, that's a really shitty bed. That's just like a stone circle, dude. Can you not afford pillows?
I also like how he's put his bed directly so that the only window in the room will shine directly upon. Just like that sounds like a horrible way to wake up in the morning.
Yeah, you're gonna go blind so quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait. If we're having him appear now, that this means that this is foreshadowing for one of the captains who'll be in this arc to maybe be revealed as him. So. Okay.
Who knows? It could be.
Well,
or it could never come up again.
If it's real, then...
The thing is, from the background, this seems to imply that he's on like the flying stone thing. To which I would say, if he is impersonating one of the captains, have they just not noticed?
No, he's impersonating Rill. No one cares.
I think it's funny. Like, have the captain of like the Green Mantises been like, "Hey, have you noticed how like Jack the Ripper hasn't shown up in 4 months?"
Have you noticed how Jack the Ripper's been killing less people recently? I think something.
Have you noticed how he turns to look at no one in particular and say, "They'll never know," and walks off?
He has fourth wall breaking magic.
Oh.
Have you noticed how he stares into the mirror for like 15 minutes going, "Gee, I hope my disguise magic is still working," and then walks off?
No, this is Black Clover. He screams it at the top of his lungs.
He asks people's opinions like, "Hey guys, do I look like Jack the Ripper?" "Yes, Captain. What an odd question to ask me." "Okay, thanks." Walks off.
Turns in exactly the same volume, says, "Little do they know that I'm not Jack the Ripper." Walks off in the other direction.
And he says that to Asta. And Asta's like, "Wow, magic captains sure are amazing."
He just soliloquizes like all the way down the corridor with people turning and looking at him. What the fuck are you talking about?
Okay. Okay. We've beat up this chapter enough.
Yeah, let's move on to the Promised Neverland. So we find out that Bill Bernard Billy Bob Thénardier is actually Lucas.
Is that his name?
Holy shit!
Someone
and
we've never met.
And also,
Yeah.
Emma uses talk no jutsu,
What?
but we don't know
What?
if it works.
What? What?
Emma uses talk no jutsu, the famous Naruto technique. Talk no jutsu.
Yeah. You talk to them enough, and then all the villains become your friends.
Yeah.
And occasionally bring back all the dead people and ruin an entire arc.
Yeah, sometimes Talk No Jutsu takes 500 chapters to work. So she's really mastered it.
To be honest, this is quite a good talk no jutsu because it's actually a dialogue no jutsu, the rare master power version.
But
For
yeah,
taking the piss, this was not a bad way to do the innocent hero talks the villain into being better trope. It was not bad.
It was an alright case. It was an alright example of it. I guess we'll see what the results are next week.
Yeah.
I think he got kidnapped by Spider-Man.
I just think my favourite thing is in that coat, his shoulders are grown by about a foot. He's absurdly hench in that coat, and his shoulders seem to go out 3 feet from his neck.
I like to think that maybe he just has shoulder pads hidden under it.
Also,
Yeah.
Just say,
also
hey
for
guys,
the
look
record,
at how
his name
buff I
isn't
am.
Lucas.
I am sure an adult, aren't I?
Yeah.
And they can't tell
For the
me
record,
because
his
they
name
haven't
isn't-
seen an adult male in their lives.
Sure. For the record, though, his name isn't Lucas.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
No?
there's a name which is scratched out, and he's imagining Lucas, who is the guy saying the name.
Yeah.
Who's the guy
I do like the
Oh,
fact
okay.
that his name is literally scratched out.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't even
Oh.
acknowledge. Maybe he doesn't even acknowledge his own name.
Like he's the editor of this series. It's like, oh, they can't know that yet.
No, it's interesting. The other thing that I quite like is how his flashbacks are. His imagination is so terrible. His flashbacks are really badly drawn.
Yeah, in
Like,
fact...
One girl is missing an eye.
I mean, I get the impression it's like kind of faded memories a little bit, so I don't know.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, they're smudged
cool.
over. They're very deliberately smudged over.
Then I retract my art criticism. I quite like that then.
Yeah, even though I think Posca Demizu's art in this manga has gone a bit uglier recently, I kind of love this in this chapter, especially the close-up on Lucas's on Billy Bob's teeth. Just as he yells at Emma.
Right. I think I'm a little more positive on the artwork in general. I've still been getting a lot out of it.
Yeah, no. Promised Neverland has got good art. It might have dropped a bit from Gracefield House, but yeah, no, I quite like it.
One thing I find kind of interesting is that the kids in Billy Bob's flashback look a bit older than the Gracefield children. Perhaps that is a fun that keeps the meat a little older, but why? I don't know, it's interesting.
Anyway,
It's absurd aged meat.
Anyway, I need to drop out now, guys. But yeah, it was nice talking to everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Laters.
problem.
See ya.
See you around.
Yeah.
So anyway, what's with that ending? Because okay, so she sees Ray's face, and then something transports. She gets captured and transported into Totland, basically.
So I have two theories. One of them is possibly the most likely, which is this is Promised Neverland. It will be addressed and answered in the first page of the next chapter, and we'll be back to normal. The second one is my favourite, which is she's high as fuck and wandering around a forest.
All right.
I mean, my theory was poachers, but I kind of like that one a lot more.
Yeah, I've no idea what it is, but with Promised Neverland, I don't want to theorize because it could very well be next chapter, first page. Oh, this is This is a blank panel, like a screen in front of me. Walks around and finds spraying people again.
What's
She got
that? Where
captured
am
by
I?
some
Oh,
really-
oh, I was looking at a painting. All right.
Yes.
She got captured by some really dank demons. They're like, we only like our humans when they're high as shit.
They're gonna marinate her in hallucinations.
Oh,
I don't know what the fuck it is, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Emma as high as fuck as my prediction.
If the next chapter title is Dank Demons, this is my favorite manga of all time.
We're gonna do this high-powered cerebral series where Emma's trying to outwit the Cheshire Cat for 20 chapters.
Oh god. In any case, I don't know. Maybe a new environment would be a bit revitalizing. My theory is maybe this is another farm. I don't know. I
Where
don't.
they keep the kids high as fuck.
I don't know how she would get there, but no, I have no idea basically. So speaking of being high as fuck, let's move on to Dr. Stone. Where Ginro is for high as fuck, so it does work. Boy, they are really moving on quickly with that tournament arc, aren't they?
Yeah. This was another chapter that I've not been as high on as previous week. I think it's just because Dr. Stone was like amazing the last few weeks, and this is sort of not a bad chapter, but a mediocre one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of breezing things through with the conclusion of Kenro's duel, in which I'm kind of disappointed that Magma's pure strength wasn't emphasized enough, and they instead decided to make him cheat. I mean, it's fine, but I kind of wish he just defeated Kinro by pure strength alone anywho, even after the power-up. Just thought this would make a better story.
I thought it was a nice touch. Well, we all knew Kinro was going to lose. Kinro's gold, right?
Yeah, Kinro.
Yeah, we all knew Kinro was going to lose. It was an interesting, wasn't it? So that. But this chapter does essentially do everything that needed to happen for the climax to happen. And while I can appreciate it all happening in one chapter, so there's only one chapter. It's like, yeah, saw that coming. Yeah, saw that coming. And it did it in some interesting ways. It was just like, I guess this chapter was necessary for the ones to follow it.
Well, I'll tell you what I didn't expect at all. Ginro winning with the power of placebo.
That was fucking cool. I'm not gonna lie. That was funny.
Yeah, but Krono's match against Mantle pretty much went as I expected it to, well, except for the junk shot. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm just more annoyed that we Kohaku is the girl. Yeah, that Kohaku just got written out of this tournament. It was the most likely thing to happen, but I was just sort of hoping she'd get back in and would have a more interesting reason why she wouldn't be the one to beat Magma.
Well, I don't see how it would be done any other way, and she couldn't possibly be in the tournament until the very end, or else, yeah.
Yeah. Also, Magma does have a really cool face when he tells Mantle. It's a cool face.
Where?
Page 10, 11-ish? The one where he just goes,
Lose right
Mantle, lose right
now.
now.
Lose right now. Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
That's a face that you want to see punched in by the end of the arc. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah. Nova, do you have anything to mention about this?
Not really. It was fine. Like it was a good enough chapter. There's just not really much I can say about it.
Yeah.
I think it was good, I guess.
Yeah.
That's about it.
So just to briefly catch up on Robot Laserbeam. So
I don't wanna.
Just a little bit, before the end. So,
How
last
badly has it fucked up this time skip?
So last chapter was actually kind of interesting because it introduced my favorite character of this manga. His name is Dorian Green.
The fuck?
And okay, he's an African stereotype.
Oh fuck!
Which has a silver lining because I can actually tell him apart from all the other characters.
Oh.
He came to Japan to play golf and became an anime weeb. He's also really huge. He's essentially a Chad-like character, except a bit more enthusiastic.
Wensleydale. Is this the guy that's introduced as he's a black player with long drives known as Bigfoot?
No, but he does lift up a truck at one point.
Yeah.
Which chapter is the?
Yeah. In the latest chapter, he lifts Robo's car because last chapter Robo borrowed him money as as he didn't have it in a bar or something. And they became friends. This chapter, he lifts his car, and they become even closer friends. And he's revealed to be a very inconsistent golf player when it comes to his abilities. As one day he's 11th place, and another day he's number 1. And yes, if we get to voice him or something, I insist his lines should be read in a Dan Green voice.
Good. That's much better than whether I was fearing that might have. Yeah.
Maybe I won't be on that podcast.
I don't know what Robot Laserbeam's doing. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird fucking series.
Yeah. So, that is gonna do it for this week of Stammer Stream. Thank you for watching, either on my YouTube channel or live at twitch.tv/Wensleydale Cheddar. We usually try to record on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. GMT, and 4 p.m. GMT+1. Although every few weeks we may move to Monday to let Grail in on the action. You may follow me on Twitter. At Wensleydale Cheddar for updates on the stream, on Penganter, World Triggered, Friendly Faces Everywhere, and many, many other projects. Follow Milo at Hovin with an H for anime waifus, Cabal Hijinks, Cabal Cast, which is definitely coming, guys, and Trial by Guilty Crown, a podcast he does with Kastor. You can find it on YouTube in the description below. Follow Grail at Nuclear Android for gaming tweets, world conquest, and stuff. Follow Dr. Nova at Jonah Left Snow for the Danganronpa podcast, which you can now see on the Team ODA R main channel. Follow Barnaby at Kastor UK for his entry in NaNoWriMo.
No, you may not follow me. No one may ever follow me.
Yeah, then nothing more once November.
I do fuck all.
Nothing more once November passes. How is the novel coming along though?
It is going well. It's going to be more like a December writing project because work's gotten in the way. But no, it's coming on well.
Oh, okay then.
My novel will be done once it actually snows and I can remember what that looks like.
That's a niche novel.
Once I have to stop Googling images for inspiration, I can just look down my window.
Oh yeah, coldness.
Yeah, because my whole book takes place in the winter and it's really mild outside right now.
So,
oh well.
Me and Hovin have got an announcement to make. So last week we
I'm
recorded.
so happy for you.
Well, it's kind of
You know
similar.
what,
So last week
Between Poland and England, I'm happy you're making this work.
Hovin is no longer allowed to read We Never Learn.
Can I also be no longer allowed to read Me Never Learn?
You'll be my best man, Nova. So
Oh God.
I'm a bridesmaid.
okay.
And judging by the amount of, no offense, but judging by the recent skinhead rally in Poland, I don't think I should go there for a long time.
Yeah, maybe not. Can I move to Canada?
What were you going to say, Wensleydale?
Can I move to Canada?
Yeah, come on over.
Okay. So last week we recorded a commentary for the Netflix Death Note film, and we
Wait, really?
yeah, and
Aw.
we made the what about it?
I would love to be a part of that. That sounds great.
Oh, sorry. I mean, we've mentioned it on the Discord channels. So I don't know. Maybe it got lost in the.
Yeah.
So we made the mistake of playing a drinking game while doing it, and at the end, instead of doing the actual commentary, we sing Bink Sake.
The review, yeah, the comment of the Death Note movie. Let's literally get drunk and do anything else.
So yeah, it's up on his channel on YouTube. So I'll put the link in the description below. So go check it out.
Right, I think we've got a new series we're all doing now. Watching movies drunk and watching bad movies drunk. Let's all do this.
Hey, the majority of my time is spent riffing bad movies, so I can do that.
There's, like, vaguely anime related.
Yeah.
Hello.
If we do One Piece Gold, I will rant for half an hour with rum in my hand.
Sweet.
You know what? We could actually do that for every One Piece movie.
Thing is, the first ones are actually good.
Yeah.
The
gotta
first
head
one
right
is an
now, so-
OVA, essentially.
Yeah, but okay.
Just a longer filler episode.
Let's stop before we rant for the next half an hour on tangent.
Alright, so just a quick mention, I would like to thank you all lovely people for watching our streams, since our channel, the Wensleydale Cheddar one has recently passed 50 subscribers. I know that our eternal rivals, Manga Mavericks, have got 100 right now, but we're getting there, lads, we're getting there.
Okay.
And I've also wanted to thank Vesemes for the follow on Twitch. We've recently got. Yeah. Anything else to mention to announce?
It's nearly Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So stay tuned for Christmas with Stammer stream, I guess. And once again,
Apparently.
cheers for watching, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.